Hello, everyone, and good evening, and welcome to Animal Advocates Radio Voices Carry for Animals, number 476 shows and counting this evening. And that is just so encouraging and inspiring and uplifting. We're going to keep these shows going on and keep it up because the animals all deserve to all their rights granted, not violated. So I'm just going to go over a couple things before we do get started. My name is Debbie Dahmer, aka Mama Bear, and Mama Bear does care because we are in on the air. So anyway, I'm going to go over a couple things. Hey, I want to say hi to Judy, YS Dog Report. She's in the live chat. Mama Cat. We got some former guests in here. This is wonderful. And also Billy Groom. You give me a message you can't hear. Maybe switch to your phone, or if you have headphones with a mic or earplugs plugged in, because if that's what you have to do from a laptop or iPad or a tablet. Okay, so you might want to switch to your phone. That's my guess for the night. We'll give her a couple minutes. And my mother is listening in this evening again. I love her support. We had some sad news coming in on Monday, and my mother, her sister passed away on Monday, and it was so sad. She was 76 years old, and my aunt, she was a wonderful aunt up in New Jersey, and so we got a tough week this week, and prayers go out to all of her family and friends, and to my mother, prayers for her also. Because it's never easy losing a loved one. And we all know that. We've been through it. A lot of us been through it several times. But anyway, Mom, or AK Moose, a big hug to you out there, and I'm right by your side, and always will be, because you're always by my side. So we'll make it through this. There was five of her sisters already gone, and her and her sister is the only ones left. There was eight daughters in that family. So anyway, rest in peace, Aunt Linda, up in New Jersey. Her funeral's next week, next Friday. So that's a sad part to happen this week, and it's very tough. But we all know we're all on this earth temporarily. So make the best of it, because death does not discriminate. Here today, gone today, and do your best on this earth, because it's only temporary, everyone. I want to welcome everyone into the chat room, okay? And the ones that's out there that's going to listening from the web, we're all still newbies at this new podcast on Podbean, and Podbean rocks everyone. I mean, I love it, and it's this chat room and just everything about it. I got to make a big great feedback on them because it is awesome. It took me a while to learn it, because I was on Blog Talk Radio, which closed down January the 31st. I was on there 10.5 years. So this was Blog Talk Radio. It was a walk in the park compared to this Podbean podcast, but I did learn it, and want to say hi to Buford in the chat room, the AKA Photo Bomber. But anyway, um, for the ones on the web that wants to join us on this podcast on the app, it is awesome. This chat room is so, I love it, and speaking right from my iPad and everything. But what you want to do to interact, listeners that don't want to interact, just want to listen to the downloaded shows, don't have to do this, but create a free account on Podbean web on my. It's Voices Carry for Animals dot podbean.com. Okay, what you're going to do is create a free account, and then you're going to follow and subscribe to Voices Carry for Animals podcast, and you are in. Okay, and I see Darla's in here, and this is great. I got her in. Darla, you just got disconnected, but somehow, but come back in. Anyway, and then when you want to go to the app, you could free download from either Apple Store or Google Play. Okay, on the or I'm sorry, Podbean podcast and player. And then what you'll do is follow, and also you'll be right in, and you'll all be connected. And this podcast is so neat. You will be alerted on your phone or your laptop, or your iPad, tablet, or whatever, that this show is starting in. Click to join. Okay, keep pressing that like button. Love. Like the show and everything, because the more we get attention, everyone, the better. And I need all of your help. I hope to see you, Vaughn, in here. Also, I helped to get on here tonight, and Eric Salvamini from the Rising Lioness. I hope she enters. So anyway, I want all of you to enjoy the show. I'm going to be break. If you have any questions on this podcast, how to get started, out the ones that are on the web, please contact me on Facebook. Okay, or you can contact me on X or LinkedIn or wherever you catch me. But anyway, I'm going to be bringing on my guests in a few minutes, and keep pressing that like button, everyone, because that's where it counts. Okay, bringing it up. So also on YouTube, YouTube, Voices Carry for Animals podcast. Subscribe, and also on Animal Advocates Radio podcast, which was transferred from Gary Bowden, or AK John Bowden. They closed up, and anyway, I hate to see him go, but all his former videos are on there. Okay, so check it out. But anyway, I want to bring my guest on. Billie, or I'm trying to find you. Can you send me in the lower right hand corner? There's a microphone icon, and that'll alert me you want to come on air. Okay, if you can hear me, go ahead. Because I see you're live, but if you're hooked up to your phone, yeah. Uh, okay, are you there? I don't see you in here, Billie. If you're on your iPad, okay, if you're on your iPad or laptop, you'll need your headphones or earplugs with a mic. If you're on your phone, you could just, you can hear you right from the phone. Okay, and I'm gonna be, Harold just came in. Everybody, welcome to the chat room. This is great. I love it. And Darla's in here also. And welcome aboard, Darla. And so glad to see you in here. But anyway, I'm trying to get Billy on online, on air and everything. I wanted to discuss after these shows are downloaded, everyone. It's going to be transferred to got another podcast platform that's going to be on. Okay, and this is a huge list here. We got it on. Okay, here we go. We got her now. All right. Okay, Billy, can you hear me? Hello? I just pressed. Hi, Billy. Can you hear me? Well, I can't hardly hear. You're not in the. Send me another invite. That lower right hand corner mic, and everyone who wants to speak on air. If you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a microphone icon, and just press that. Alert me you want to come on air, and just stay away from any noises in the background. Televisions, radios, conversations. You're more than welcome to come on board. And I'm so glad to see you in here, Judy, because this is great. Hold on one second. Okay, here we go. Okay, okay, here we go. Billy.
Here we go. Can you hear me now?
Oh yes, there you
Yeah.
are.
Oh
This is
my goodness. I,
wonderful.
I just got a huge tech lesson right there. Sorry
Hey,
about that, people. Not
we're
my
all
strong
new.
point. Yeah.
We're all newbies at this. Okay, so
Oh my goodness.
I've only been running since February the 20th, so I've been learning a lot. I've been making mistakes. I can't blame it on Podbeam. It's got to be blamed on the mama bear.
Well, I'm the same. I don't blame anyone else. It's
Yeah,
me learning as I go for 4 decades.
yeah.
Oh my
That is,
goodness.
yes, and that's a long time.
It is. It
And we give
is.
it our best shot. We live and learn, and
That's
it's
right.
it's not that difficult. We just got to go through and experience. Hey, you live and learn. You learn from that mistake, And I always work with all, whoever wants to come on and learn this. I will work with them to get them on, because it's not no walk in the park like it was Blog Talk, because that
Yeah.
was a call-in number, So
Yeah.
that
I
this
love it
makes it a little
though.
bit harder. I do too. It's nice. I got to give them a great feedback here, And what's great about Billy is that it's going to get out to 20 podcast platforms after it gets downloaded and published. Podcast Addict, Audible, Podcast Republic, Podchaser, Overcast. It's going on 2 YouTube channels, Listen Notes, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. I mean, you used to see this list, and it's
Love it.
great because, yeah, and podserve.fm is where I'm storing them. Also, the Voices Carry or the Animal Advocates Radio, because I have them under 2 names too, so it gets more attention, So,
Good for you.
Boom
That's
Play,
impressive. You're a
yeah,
real force. You're a real force. It's awesome. I love you.
I I try. My thing is to my goal here is to attract more action takers. Is the key. Listeners
Yeah.
too, yes, but action takers is where we see the changes. The more of us, the better. Strength in numbers, right? And we
Yes.
cannot give that up because that's what we're all about. That's why I have this podcast. That's why multitask can help others, other animals out that's in need because that's what it takes. The more of us that multitask, the faster the changes, the stronger we become. Strength in numbers, Mama Cat, and that's what she tells me. And it's so true, So, but Billy,
Absolutely.
you want to go ahead and tell us some, just refresh the memory because she's been on several times. And welcome back. This is wonderful.
Yes,
And
that well, I
all
always appreciate it. I always do. So I don't like to repeat if people had heard, but But on the same note, it's good to give a bit of a refresher because there's so many people
Yes.
in this industry and so many people doing so many different great things.
Yes, and
So
you are, and you're an author. You was a host on, or from the former All About Animals Radio with John Bowden. And we're giving a
yeah,
big shout out to him,
yeah,
John. We're giving you a big shout out. We hate to see you go, and hope you come back. All About Animals Radio producer,
yeah.
and also I seen your video on YouTube under Animal Advocates Radio podcast, which used to be All About Animals Radio, but all his 78 videos are still on there, which is great. He didn't delete all of them. So, and, not everybody can listen at the same time and days. They're not on social media. So, I noticed on mine with podserve.fm and also Podbean is record breaking downloads where people go in afterwards and listen to the shows, and that's not, record on just one, it's all of them,
Hmm.
combined. So
Yeah,
that's great news.
yeah.
And we're going to keep that up. And we want record breaking action takers. That's the key, right, Billy? But
It is.
yes. And I love it because it means so much. And with the Institute of Canine Psychotherapy, you're doing a wonderful job out there. But
Well,
go
thank
ahead and,
you. It's interesting
yes,
you said about action because I think that's the difference between having the mindset and actually putting a mindset into action. And I only launched that Institute of Canine Psychotherapy in the fall, but I've been doing what I do for decades. But this allows other people to learn what I do so that the action spreads and gets bigger and a bigger impact. And that's where that came from. It was a long time coming. I'd been on so many shows and speak at conferences and my book and people were like, where can we learn it? Where can we learn what you do? So I finally launched it because people want to have agency to gain the skills and tools that they need to make a difference. And at some point, it's okay to spread awareness and have that mindset. Speaking of sentient beings, but to be able to put that into action. So that's where ICP started.
that's right. And that's what we're all out to do is find peace and animals' rights. Let's see their rights because they can't speak out for themselves. They can't fight for themselves. They're defenseless and helpless and voiceless and innocent. So what we can do, make their lives better and their futures, we can do it. We can
We
put our
can.
mind to do it and put the negative into the positive. That's what it takes.
Yeah,
Taking that action. Because if we don't, there'll be no changes made. And then
that's
we
right.
can't, complaining or just having these podcasts, we can listen to them all or whatever. But if we don't take a foot in the right direction, and take that action, guess what? We're just spinning our wheels. We're not doing anything to make it better.
Yeah,
Talking, be all action, less talk, right? We have to do that.
yeah.
Hey,
It's that
take.
saying, preaching to the choir, right? We can all
Yep, that's
but
right.
yeah, and we all have different ways of accomplishing the same larger goal. And we might not all do the same thing or do the same thing a different way. But if we all have the same larger goal and we're all using our own skills and tools and what is of interest to us and what our area of expertise is and what we can bring to the table, if we're all doing that in the best way that we can do that, then it's going to be a faster and better and stronger way to reach that end goal. And that end goal, of course, is exactly what you just said there, Mama Cat, Eric, about being able to give animals a better life and to be able to not just keep them safe, but to allow them to thrive and to allow them to be themselves and to be able to recognize their emotions and how they feel and to be able to really connect with them. That maybe I'm getting a little too much into my own personal goal, but that's my own
Nope,
personal goal. But I think,
that's right.
to be able to do that is really separates just there they are to, we're all one, and they deserve that.
They so well do. They do. I mean, they're so wealthy. They are just. Every day I look at it and I say, you know what? I wish all animals were treated fairly and good and live in peace and comfortable and have their rights, granted, not ignored. Treat them with dignity and respect. All of them. They all deserve that.
Hmm.
What is the issue? I can't stand all this abuse going on, neglect. There's no zero excuses for it. They're innocent. And if we don't fight for them, I remember that was last week. I did a reel that said animal advocates unite. Together we stand. Together we fight. Together we stand. Together we fight. Together we win. And it's so true.
Hmm.
So right? I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to
That.
do that. Yeah, and animals depend on us for that. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I've talked about a couple different topics. I've talked about canine CBT, which is what I how I work with dogs, and then I think I talked about um, we came on and talked about connection between different animals, horses and dogs, and all sorts of different animals on their cognitive skills and their cognition and how they think and process, which is all CBT. No, CBT is not cannabis. Who is that? Sorry. Can I respond to this, Aloha? CBT, sorry, I should have said that, is cognitive behavioral therapy. Thank you so much for saying that, Aloha, 1978. Cannabis is CBD. So CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a scientifically proven method, the same as conditioning is. So they're both used in the human world. And when we use them with animals, we still follow those same principles. So we take the principles of conditioning methods, they use reinforcements, and the goal is to teach. Or if you use counter conditioning, the goal is to change perception of the stimuli. So they have their own principles and guidelines and goals and intent. And same with cognitive behavioral therapy. What's interesting is cognitive behavioral therapy has sort of gained a lot of traction because one, it's completely non-aversive, and two, it really deals with emotions and feelings and resetting the brain and allowing for decision making and self regulation, autonomy, agency. And people are really, as soon as they start to think of animals as sentient beings, all of that works together. So even in the human world, CBT is talked about more. And that's because we talk more about mindfulness and mental health. And all of that is just become more accepted to talk about it and to talk about therapy and to talk about how we feel. And once I think, I could be totally off on this, but I would say maybe 15 years ago, 12 or 15 years ago, it started to become more okay to openly talk and discuss this. I'm happy if there's a psychologist in this room that wants to chime in if I'm wrong on my time frame there. But since then, it's sort of um, so then the fact that we can do that with dogs, we just it's just a matter of learning how to take the principles and guidelines that are scientifically proven and how that works, and then adapt it and change those so that they can work with dogs, which is exactly what people who use conditioning methods do. It follows the same guidelines. So that was a long answer, Aloha, but thank you for asking that because it's an important part.
Yes, it is. That way they know because we live and learn every day.
Yeah, I just
So
go right quickly. I know acronyms are the worst. We get caught up in acronyms, and it's like, well, what is that? Yeah, no, that's CBT is. Yeah,
good. I'm glad you explained that. And you want to give your website out and your Facebook pages and all that, and even your podcasts that you're on currently. That would be wonderful too. How's that? The
yeah, that's
more,
great. So if you want
yes,
to learn more about CBT. The website is www. It's long, Institute of Canine Psychotherapy.com. So the reason it's an institute is because it has institute status, which means I can give diplomas. It's a pretty rigorous process to go through, but it is an institute. So it's the instructors have to have a certain amount of qualifications in specific to the courses that they're teaching. So there's a lot of animal welfare courses. There's neuroscience, comes from a psychology background. So there's neuroscience um, that is taught by a neuroscientist who is also a animal welfare advocate. And I teach the diploma for canine CBT. And what that allows is, I mean, there's people from all different backgrounds in it, but the people that are in that course, a lot of them are dog trainers and they know conditioning methods, but commonly not the aversive ones. I don't want to go down that road, but um, they want to expand to be able to use also cognitive behavioral therapy. So when they're working with dogs that are over 6 months, dogs that are in that challenging adolescent stage, dogs that have had trauma in the background, whether it's more recently adopted dogs, dogs with change in behavior, all sorts of different reasons, then they have more tools in their toolbox. So same with humans, where we would adapt and change the method that we use depending on a number of different factors, but brain development is a big one. So that's why neuroscience is important. So that neuroscience course is also part of the CBT course. And they're actually really enjoying it. It's super fun and it's interactive, even though it's online and it's self-paced and you can do it your own time that you want to do it. There's a lot of interaction between the instructors and the students, and there's a mentorship program. So that's what that's all about. So as soon as, more and more people know different methods and how to use them and when to apply them and why and their purpose and their goal, then they have all these different tools in their toolbox and they can help all these dogs so that we can keep them out of shelters and keep them out of the rescue system, so that alleviates the pressure on those who are currently experiencing a crisis. There's, I think, 3.3 million dogs per year surrendered to shelters in the US.
That's
So,
terrible.
yeah, and behavior is actually documented as one of the leading reasons.
Mm.
So being able to help these dogs and to be able to overcome behaviors that might lead to surrender and euthanasia, we want to be able to do that. So having a couple different choices of non-aversive methods is really important. So that's that my podcast, which actually talks more about um, actually, it talks about all sorts of different things, but it also talks about science as well, how it connects science with CBT and with dog behavior. But that is Dog Training Disrupted. And that's on, I think, 11 different platforms as well. Hi, everybody who's joining. This is fantastic.
Isn't it though?
Um,
I love it. I told you, you might want to come on over in this neighborhood.
yeah, this is great.
Isn't it
Um,
great?
Yeah, it's so nice to see
Wow.
everyone. I'm half reading all these as I'm as I'm talking. I'm half reading, multitasking. But yeah, so it's that, and from the website, people can get a hold of me. Yeah, so that's what that's all about. That's where we want to be able to really heighten our bond with dogs and be able to, we're talking a lot about choice and option, which we can do with conditioning methods. Conditioning methods, absolutely, you can provide canine enrichment and choice and option. So choice and options are the first step when you start getting to decision making. So decision making is a higher level from choice, and that's the same with people. It's the same with people where we can we can make choices. We all have choices. But when we start to get into decision making, we're talking about ethics and a larger scale. So our decision to pick a choice that we have might be based on a number of things: how other people feel, our surroundings, our environment, what we feel we're responsible for, what we feel is right and wrong, and then we make a choice. So decision making is an elevated, and you can do decision making with cognitive behavioral therapy. And that's what brings that feeling of autonomy and agency, because we all like to feel like people understand how we feel, and we all like to feel that we have the ability to self regulate. And then that leads to intrinsic motivation. And then you're getting into a whole different level. Um, so when you're getting into intrinsic motivation, we're doing things because it feels good. It feels good in our brain not to panic. It feels good to um, know that we have that ability to make those decisions. And then that's what the difference is with CBT. And so a lot of times when you're dealing with older dogs over the age of 6 months that have made decisions on the street, which is why they're still alive, they're using a high level of cognitive skills. And so we need to replicate that, and we need to be able to provide them with that ability when we bring them into our homes. And that's more along the lines of cognitive behavioral therapy. Oh, I love that photo.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, it's great.
Wow.
So I don't know if that was too much information there,
No,
but I could talk
you're
about this
doing. Hey,
forever because I love it. Because when you see it, it's just like this beautiful thing. It's like, oh,
I know.
it's
That's what
amazing.
I said too. I mean, thinking to myself, thanks, Mama Cat. Mama Cat
Yeah,
was a former guest several
yeah.
times on this show. She's
Oh
filled
yeah,
in
yeah,
for me. That's my
yeah.
tag
She
team.
came on when we were. Yeah, she came on
Yes.
when we were talking. Yeah, she was great. We talked about all sorts of things. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So thanks, Mama Cat, for sending that. I love that. You got to tell me how you get those photos in there, because now she knows more than I do. Isn't that a good one?
Oh, that
I
was
think I think she was watching some Podbean videos on YouTube and their website. So I got to do some more. It's a secret. You're not going to tell me? I thought you was my tag team.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, she's great.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And we multitask and jump over and help other ones. Just like I have that group on Facebook, help support elder abuse. Or I'm
Yes.
sorry, not help stop elder abuse. Support group, and I got everyone coming, from animals advocates over there, and I think that's great.
Yeah.
Because it's
You've had that
it's
a long time.
yes, I had it with
Yeah.
Marty Oakley, and
Yes.
she sadly passed away April 1st of 2023, and I was on her TS radio network for from June of 2014 to March of 2018. She trained me on everything, Billy, and helped me get Animal Advocates Radio started up, and it's going up to 476 podcasts already. And so I looked the other day, and on podchaser.com, I found all my shows from over there. Because was helping on elder help stop elder abuse. Being her co-host for over 75 shows, and I put in voices carried for animals, and I'm gonna do it to the rest of them. And all my shows from her network popped up because before they
Wow.
was all mixed together. So
Wow.
that was good news. And that I was like, wow.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's huge.
that's a
That's a big difference.
yes. So I told her she was a super team player. I miss her sadly and everything. The super friend, and she was the grassroots
Mm.
of voices carried for animals. So
Mm.
she got me started, and then I went on my own. She helped me out. She set it up and everything, and we kept in contact, and that means a lot. Working together, I called her, told her she was a fireball because she has a voice for all kind of hot topics. A powerhouse.
Yep.
But
We need those.
oh yeah. So we gotta keep going no matter what. We can't give up. So
Oh yeah.
um,
Oh
because
yeah.
that's so
Support.
important. everyone.
Lots of support.
Get the word out when you're on social media. Share, share, share. Share, share, share for the mama bear. How's that?
There you go. There you
Yep,
have a slogan going on.
I
Just
know.
what you need, another slogan.
Before, when I switched over, so Mama Bear is back on the air.
Oh, there you
I
go.
said, yep. So I got this, and our Mama Cat says, "Can you give your Facebook page and your websites?" Go right ahead to the okay. And if
What's
anybody
name?
wants to come on air and ask Billy any questions or comments, press that microphone icon in the lower right hand corner to alert me you want to come on air, and then I will let you on air. So just try to refrain from any noises in the background, okay? But go ahead, Billy. We got Mama Cat. She got the. I
Okay.
got it there.
I don't
Thanks, Mama
know.
Cat.
Is
Okay,
is Marcus Nevis in here? Do you know a guy named Marcus? I just want to give a shout out to his book.
go
He and
ahead.
I are speaking together. I just think a lot of people here would really like it. He and I are speaking together at the FAIR conference, which is PHAIR. It's in Scotland, and it's all on animal welfare, and it's a lot of psychologists. I'm a member of the Canadian Psychological Association, and so um, he's an author, and we're speaking together at this conference. And so he reached out to me with his book, and I just have to say it's called The Jacksons Debate, and it's all about it uses fiction. So it's actually a fictional book, but it really dives deep into the what if we didn't have all the control over other animals and there was another species that had control over us. And it starts to get into their debate on whether we are actually caring human beings, and would they be able to kill us or treat us a certain way based on their perception or definition of sentience, and how they're talking about, are we really sentient beings based on we kill each other, we kill other animals, we abuse, and the whole book, and it's very short and it's extremely clever and well written. It's called The Jacksons Debate. And I want to give a shout out to that because it's so interesting how we can talk about these heavier topics and these important topics, but we can talk about them on different ways, and different ways of getting out that information that's so important.
Oh yeah, it is because when we all come under a different platform or on social media or whatever, the more information that we got, the better, to share it out there and spread the word because that means so much, everyone. Keep pressing that share button out there. And what you're bringing up, I seen when I was on LinkedIn, where he made a comment that he's going to be here, but I don't see him in here. Maybe he will be
Okay.
in later or so.
He's in
But
Brazil, but maybe he's having a hard time getting on. I'm not sure, but yeah, he's a lawyer, and he's. I'm taking my PhD in transformational ecology, and he's in I think sustainable development. So but yeah, he's currently in Brazil, which their time isn't that much different, I don't think. Maybe he's having a hard time getting on. But more so, yeah. So I just wanted to give a shout out to that. As far as LinkedIn, I'm Billie Groom. There's also the Institute of Canine Psychotherapy, and Facebook, Billie Groom, and Institute of Canine Psychotherapy. I'm everywhere. There's I think on Instagram it's Canine Psychotherapy. So yeah, I'm pretty easy to find. I'm also doing a TEDx talk coming up on May 17th. I'll be talking a lot about this same type of thing where we can really elevate how we relate to animals, and we really need to elevate that and to explore um, ways of recognizing them as sentient beings so that we don't limit ourselves or limit them. That's essentially what it's about. And that is on May 17th. So it'll come out after that.
okay, great. And Billy, we got a caller wants to speak.
Sure.
Yvonne, she's a former guest. Hi, Yvonne. Can you hear me? This is
Hi, I
Debbie.
can, Debbie. Hi, Billy. How are you?
Good, Yvonne. How
Yes.
are you?
Yeah, I
Oh,
heard we were going to be on today, and I've been fascinated. I mean, I could listen to you talk all day.
Oh,
You've raised so many points. Oh, great. Now my low battery things come up on my phone. It's always the way. But you've raised so many good points there about, and I just wonder, about the dogs, the street dogs, and how they've survived and how they've coped. And then you want to use part of that to, help prevent more ending up in shelters, with problems that people don't want them. And all the other things you've been talking about makes me wonder, like Lucy, obviously, I do a lot for Lucy, but,
yeah.
well, I try
Yeah.
to.
We love you.
Um,
You do a
oh,
lot.
thank you, or
yes, he does. Thanks,
everybody.
Yvonne. So
Yes.
But
glad you're here. This is
thank,
wonderful. Former
well,
guest, everyone, for
Yes.
Lucy the
And on mine.
elephant.
On mine as well.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
oh, thank you. But do you this just shows it has to be a group effort, because a lot of the things you're saying, it hasn't even occurred to me that, because everybody's, oh, how does Lucy survive? And she survives because it's almost like street sense, isn't it? From,
Yeah.
and this is,
Yes.
the things you do is so important, and it's so fascinating. Like, you and doing that project with a Scottish person, because that is ultimately what's going to save all the animals, is people waking up to who they are
Yes, and you do
and
a
seeing them
wonderful job of
differently.
doing that. Canada thanks you. It's a horrific. I'm Canadian and I'm horrified at what has happened to Lucy, but you are right that she survives in there because she adapts, and it's amazing how much we downplay how much animals can adapt. And they're saying, I know that there's multiple reasons, and you are the expert on this, but that one of their lame excuses for not transferring her to a sanctuary is that she won't be able to adapt. Of course she can adapt. She adapts to the piece of crap place that she's in right now. She adapts every day, sadly. So of course she can adapt when she goes to a place that actually is where she's meant to be. So we need to not underestimate their ability to process and to be able to take what they know and learn. We as humans do that. We take what we know and learn and what our experiences, we move them forward with us. We're not starting from scratch every time we do anything. We can take what our brain has the ability to process and to um, make good decisions. So Lucy can do that. She absolutely can. Where she is now, which people, she's in a really crappy situation. If you don't know, if you don't know, follow Yvonne, go find her. But she's in this horrific zoo. I'm just so embarrassed. It's like it's this zoo, and she's just in this terrible. She's this beautiful species. She's just wonderful, and she's stuck in this zoo. And they think that they're giving her the ability to think cognitively by giving her a choice on where she's going to drink her water from. I mean, this is not a level of cognition. Yes, it's a choice, but it is not at all. Her brain is just
Actually,
depleted. And
do you know what? She doesn't even get the choice where she drinks her water from.
there you go. There you go. Even that.
She actually doesn't. She can only drink at the odd time she's offered water from a hose pipe.
Yeah. So they're not even trying to pretend to provide, some kind of enrichment. They're not even
Oh,
going that far. It's
oh, do you know, someone a couple of the advocates went to see Lucy at the zoo on last Saturday, and they watched her for over an hour. She stood out the back of a barn. She's got a big weeping pussy sore on her rump, and she was stood still. She wasn't allowed to move. She moved her head towards the keeper, who put their hand up and told her no. And Lucy had to stand there like a statue for over an hour. She'd already been locked up for
oh,
16 hours in that corridor
it's
with
just
the,
horrible.
I
It's
mean,
it's
and like you
terrible.
say, in that, individual, in that elephant, I mean, how clever is an elephant? I mean, their brains are gigantic. If
yeah,
you
they
think
are.
what,
They have a lot of emotions and they have a lot of
yeah,
feeling. And the
listening to you
people that
about the
do that are
dogs.
absolutely inhumane. I have no idea how humans can do that and justify. This is a big problem, justification.
Yes.
Justifying doing nothing.
Yes. Very good.
Justifying because people tell, oh, it's okay, they're fine, or what they can find. And Yvonne is a library worth of information on this. And so there are veterinarians that say, that she can be moved. But then someone will come up with find one little small thing to justify keeping her there. And it's the same with dogs. We can justify keeping them on the street or justify, not doing certain things with them or not providing them with what they need. I mean, anybody can justify anything, and that is what can cross over to being inhumane. We can say it's tradition. Tradition is probably one of the biggest justifications for inhumanity against animals. I mean,
That is just so spot on, and
and
it is almost that line, isn't it? Or that crossroads where you can use all your effort to do one thing right, or you can use all your effort to just agree with what goes on and do nothing. And
yes,
it is what makes people not take that other road,
yes,
because that is always that choice, isn't it?
yeah. And we all have a choice,
Yeah.
and we can have a choice to do nothing. A lot of it too is cognitive dissonance. So people are afraid of change, or they've been told this is the way you have to do it. And truthfully, a lot of dog trainers are like that. They've been told that they have to use conditioning methods. They have to use reinforcements. Well, you do if you're using conditioning training, because the principles behind conditioning training are reinforcements. Now, how you do that, how you choose to do it, what type of conditioning you choose is, that varies amongst trainers. But you don't have to use reinforcements. You do if you're using conditioning methods. But if you use CBT, you don't. It doesn't rely on reinforcements. It relies on cognitive exercises. So there's a
Can
foundation
you
to
give
it,
us an
like there is
example of
anything.
that, please?
So, pardon me?
Can you give us an example of that? Because it's really hard sometimes to think about doing any type of training with any type of animal without a reward, because you kind of feel you owe them a reward, or
Right,
their
because you're
reward is you being
teaching.
nice.
See, this
Yeah.
is a really good point, because the goal of conditioning methods is to teach, which is why they're so perfect for puppies or when dogs don't know right from wrong. So it's the same with people. If we don't know right from wrong, there's certain ways of teaching. And usually using a reward is good, because it's teaching what's right and what's wrong. Again, how people do that is a whole other topic, but that is what conditioning methods are meant to do. Whereas CBT works under the assumption that either they know right from wrong, because a lot of adolescent and adult dogs they know what we're trying to do. They know right from wrong. And same with humans. A lot of humans know right from wrong, but they're just making different decisions. They don't care about consequences or repercussions, or they've just decided that no, that might be right for you, but it's not right for me. So we can't keep telling them that their decisions are wrong, because they may have learned otherwise that decision's actually right. It works for them. So instead, we have to use a totally different approach. And that's why parents adapt their parenting style. They may not know that they're adapting the principles behind CBT, but as soon as they start to provide them with the ability to make decisions and to think about things differently and to process and make decisions. So those are done with exercises, and we do that with children, and then we do it with young teens, and then we do it with young adults and adults. The way that we allow them to say, okay, I'm not going to tell you how to feel, but we can practice their brain resetting and processing. And if it's a habit, if we have a habit of
So if
bad eating habit,
everybody automatically
yeah,
just took the road that they already
yeah,
subconsciously know
yeah,
is the right road, I suppose, is my very basic way of saying it,
yeah,
then we would save ourselves a world of hurt.
yeah. It's just a totally different method with a different goal and principles and guidelines, and how we. So example would be journaling, right? If our brain goes to an unhealthy thought pattern place, often a common example that either a psychotherapist or um, somebody that's helping you might suggest journaling. So when you journal, your brain is going to a place that allows you to stop and think and process and to think about why you're thinking certain things and feel, and there's no right or wrong. So that's why we don't need reinforcements, because there's no right or wrong. It's just the way we feel. But when we can start to think about why we're feeling that way, we don't have to change our opinion. If we don't like a person, CBT doesn't tell them that we have to like them. Same with a dog. We're not going to try and convince them that that person's nice, but we allow them to stop and think and decide, you know what, I don't need to feel panic or fear. I don't need to react. I don't need to bite. But they need to make that decision on their own from being able to reset their brain and work through that, which is different than trying to tell them that that person's okay, or trying to get them to do a good behavior like
Like a trick. Yeah.
yeah, or sitting or laying down or just something, and then rewarding that behavior. The
Yeah.
behavior is quite irrelevant with CBT, which is hard when you work with parents, because it's like, no, Billy, actually the behavior is important. My dog just bit somebody. It's like, okay, yes, it's true. The behavior is, but it's more the fact that they're feeling an emotion. And once, to get back to the journaling, it's really what the journaling does, where it takes our brain. So if we're a very anxious person and we find that journaling helps to decrease our anxiety, we might be out in public and not have our journaling book and pen with us. What are we going to do? Well, we can just go into that headspace. So we need to practice going into that headspace at other times. And that's 3 deep breaths, yoga, journaling, singing, I don't know, what have you. They all have different, everybody has lots of different ways that we know we can manage our emotions. So when we're out in public and we can't take that with us, we take the brain, we take the way our brain processes and makes decisions. That's what we take with us. And that's why it's very different than conditioning, because conditioning establishes a reward and takes the reward. Neither one is right or wrong or better. They're very different. And so it depends on, a lot of it is age, brain development, and reason for the behavior. There, that was a long answer, right?
No, it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating, and it's just like sends my mind going. I mean, if you think about how wild animals deal with their days, there's not particularly a reward process there. It's just they just already have it that they just take the right path, or if they don't, they can get into trouble. But it's you're right. It's almost like we all have got this thing that you must get a reward, and we like to give rewards because we like to think we're treating, give your dog a biscuit or whatever. But you're right, because in actual fact, there's more freedom in letting them learn the other way, your way.
Yeah, there's more
And
freedom. It's an intrinsic motivation, but the motivation
yeah,
comes at the end, which is opposite. So the whole idea that I should clarify here is you don't just remove the reward. If you just simply use conditioning methods and remove the reward, then you're going against the psychological
okay,
foundation. So you need to actually learn CBT. So it's not as though you just remove the reward. You can do that. You can stay in the conditioning realm, and you can teach right from wrong and then elevate it so that you don't need a reward because the dog just does the right behavior. But you're not doing CBT in that case. You're just developing conditioning, which is totally fine. You started out with a reward, and then as the dog gets older, you just don't need it. And an example would be house training. When you're house training and the dog pees outside, good dog, and give a reward. But, after
yeah,
5 years of the dog peeing outside, I mean, my dog pees on a walk, and I'm not like, good dog every time, right? So I actually use conditioning methods to house train a puppy. or a younger dog or a new, right, but then we can just kind of wean off of the reward.
I
But
see.
that's
Yeah.
not CBT. That's just weaning off a reward.
I think my dog's looking at me now, thinking, saying to me, I owe him loads of rewards because I didn't give any money for peeing outside. But
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a whole other,
yeah,
there's ways of doing conditioning methods, and yeah, it's just a completely different
it's
platform.
fascinating because it's how, as you said, the animals have survived, and then how they've got to fit in. Because everybody's got to fit in on this planet and rub along,
Mhm.
and it's then it's like, how do they mentally survive? Like Lucy and like other animals, and the dogs on the street and everything else long enough. It's almost like, how do they have their coping mechanisms,
Mm. Mhm.
before they do get the right human, or who can, make their lives easier. But yeah, it's just
Mhm.
fascinating. The whole thing is fascinating.
Mhm. Yeah, Lucy is, yes, I am forever grateful for everything that you do.
No, it takes a village, and the things you say, just they go round in my head and they just inspire me, because it just relates to not just the dogs but everything. And
Every animal. Yeah.
yeah,
It
and
is. I should clarify that this is, can be a lot of people who are very experienced with horses really resonate with CBT. Um, I know a lot of people. Actually, some of the people that are taking my course are horse experts. Um, they're
well,
dog trainers.
horses are my thing. I've
Oh,
always had
okay. There you go.
horses,
There you go.
and
I don't know much about them.
I'm a great fan of Monty Roberts and Bent Brander up, and it is a different world to the one I grew up in. The Pony Club and the stuff where you just made it clear what was wanted, and we all did it, kind of thing. Yes, it's a totally different world. I mean, Monty
Mm,
Roberts is just the guy's a legend. I mean,
mm-hmm.
I've met him a couple of times on some training days over here. And I mean, you could just talk to him forever. I mean, the knowledge of him, and how brave was he to go up against everything that was normal in the day?
Yeah,
Incredible.
yeah.
But it
I
works.
can
It
resonate with that.
absolutely
I
works.
I understand that. People have a hard time with change, much
Yeah,
more so than pretty much any other species.
yeah,
They'll lose
yeah.
logic just to just to make a point. But
But you're right, with horses, it's the change in the last 10 years has been phenomenal.
yes,
We are opening, doors and minds, and it's just the communication is so different. I mean, they are, you learn every day from a horse if you're open to it.
yeah. And I mean, Mama Bear, I don't know if you know about Canada sending horses to China for
Oh,
slaughter,
it's
which is
horrific.
that's
Yes,
something
it's
that's got to go.
terrible.
That is, I think
Oh,
you've had horse people on your show as guests that
yes.
are
I
that,
mean, many
that's,
times.
yeah,
Yes.
that's got to
It's
stop.
sickening.
Canada, come on.
It's the racing
Mm.
industry, though, isn't it? I mean, it is, as well as the people who breed all the draft horses. I mean, they're going for, and this is another Edmonton Airport.
Mm-hmm.
Them again. They had some horses on the runway, -30 wind chill for 3 hours recently. They're going to Japan, and when they get there, they get sprayed with some disinfectant stuff that burns their skin, because Animal Justice had a big thing about it.
Yeah.
And the Liberal Party promised for 3 years to ban it. And where's the ban? And a lot of this is over border racehorses. So the racing industry are the hall of shame. You know, it's
Oh yeah.
it's just horrific what goes on. So you're absolutely right. I mean, yeah, it's just awful.
Yeah, there's so many, and if everybody, picks something that is just really grabs their heart and really grabs their heartstrings and finds a solution and spreads awareness. That's how I started. I didn't start out as a dog trainer. I had no intention of being a dog trainer. Had no intention. I just wanted to figure out why dogs were being surrendered and euthanized, why everyone was so challenged with adolescent dogs, and why behavior frustrated people, and that led to abuse and aversive measures and surrender. I just wanted to figure out what was going on. I mean, I had rescued a lot of dogs and fostered, and I had a pet care service, but I had no intention of this whole thing happening at all. But once you start to dive, and I'm sure Yvonne, you can relate, and all of, like a lot of us
Yeah,
here,
yeah,
you start out just something kind of gets you like, what the heck? And then you start looking into it.
yeah.
Then I created a solution, and that solution just has
Oh, it's phenomenal what you've done.
yeah.
Absolutely
So
phenomenal.
yeah, that's where I came from. So I had to go back and learn about other dog training methods because it became a big part of who I work with and talk to and connect with and everything else. But no, you just find something that connects and resonates and dive deep into it. Dive deep and make a difference.
And don't be afraid to do it either. It doesn't matter any age. Don't be afraid to do it because it's so appreciated, and you meet nice people and like-minded people. And to be honest, it's hard to meet like-minded people these days, and sometimes, and it's not lonely. It's
very lonely.
Do you think so?
It can be lonely if it can be lonely in the sense that if you're doing something, yeah, for me I was on my own a lot, but I guess it's different for you. I mean, I created an innovative product, and I had to it's had its lonely times for sure. But now that it's gained a lot of recognition, and I talk a lot with scientists and psychologists and people in the field and speaking at conferences, it is a lot better. But there was a big time in there that it was very lonely because I wasn't really a dog trainer, and I wasn't normal in animal welfare, and I didn't really fit in anywhere. So it was hard. Yeah.
You're a pioneer. You had to. I mean, I suppose. Yeah, for me it was easy in that respect. I just joined in with an existing thing that was going on, but you started something. I mean, that's phenomenal. It's just and to learn all that just because you thought what's going on here.
I learned it from
It's
dogs.
inspirational.
I rescued hundreds and hundreds of dogs, and I just learned it from them, which
But
is
you made a
technically,
career,
if
a
people who like
business. I tell my kids this. I say, do something that you are passionate about, and you can change the road you're on if you want to later on. But it has to be something that you're interested in, because that will, see you through everything.
Yeah. And you just become obsessed with it just
Become
becomes what you
obsessed with
do. Yeah. And if it isn't working, or it isn't like if my method wasn't making a difference and people weren't resonating with it, and dogs weren't more importantly, if dogs weren't resonating with it, I wouldn't do it. There'd be no point. There would just be no point. But they do, and it just became, yeah, there's lots of other things I thought I'd end up doing. But here I am. Yeah.
Well, you're
But yeah,
doing wonderful,
that's good
both of you.
advice. Pardon me?
Both of you. I said both of you are doing wonderful. I mean, it's just super teamwork here. And Yvonne, next week, I think I mentioned to you, Marianne Holm is going to be on air again for Lucy the Elephant. So if you all please join in and spread the word, okay? Because it's so disgusting and inhumane how she's getting treated, and they won't release her. It's called profit before animals. Greed bullies at large. So
Oh,
please spread
Marianne,
the word, you
she is
know.
she she deserves a medal for. I mean, I won't. She's going to tell you all about what's happening with the film and everything. But my goodness me, to put all that together, and to, the people she's worked with and everything that's going on, and the team of Leap, and yeah, absolutely phenomenal. And
That's
everybody that every single person advocate that is sharing stuff about the film and doing stuff. As I said, it takes a village, and it certainly takes a global village for Lucy. So, yeah, brilliant to hear Marianne on next week.
oh
Yes.
yeah, she's fantastic.
I know, and she's working hard on that, with the documentary and everything. So everyone, I'll be blasting just like all my shows all over, Facebook and X and LinkedIn. So please get it out there, because the more of us that come together, the stronger we become. I mean, 50 years old. I mean, come on, let's be real. She's such a prisoner in her life. She has no life. They need to release all wild animals from zoos and circuses and everything. It's no place for them. They're forced. They have no choice in the matter. We got to get with the times. And I've had so many shows for Lucy. I used to have them for Nosy the elephant. That was a massive victory, wasn't it? Where she got Nosy's Law up in New Jersey and got released to a sanctuary. She's so happy. I mean, I had happy tears coming down my face when Nosy the elephant got released from, and I was like, wow, see, this is called strength in numbers, Mama Cat. She got released, and we want to see Lucy get released. We want to see Billie the elephant get released out in LA. I mean, there's just a list of them. So please spread the word, because this is so unfair to them. They're not happy. You could tell that. They're living in captivity and in prison. That's not right. And it's because they're getting that profit, and if people would stop going to them, hey, we might see some changes. When Nosy got that law in New Jersey, hey, we all jumped to the ceiling. I mean, and there was a senator that was involved too. So the more voices out there and the more politicians, hey, the better, right? I mean, we got to
Absolutely.
do it. Yep.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And for the dogs as well, because every single day we are seeing, and it's heartbreaking, dogs on death row.
Yep.
And as Billy's just so beautifully said, there is no reason for this at all. And it is heartbreaking. Absolutely
There's
heartbreaking.
no reason. They just keep
No,
turn away solutions, and they justify their behavior, and they just it all it takes is humanity and working together, and wanting to just say, okay, maybe there is not one right way of doing anything. And it's not about being right, it's just about getting it right and figure out how to get it right and then implement it. And if the leaders aren't going to do that, then there needs to be new leadership.
that's right. Get the ones that's in there that that have animal friendly. Hey, feel for them. Show some compassion. So, and we got another caller there, Yvonne. You can stay on here. I love your accent, okay? And it's awesome. Yep,
Aw.
just like John Bowden. A big shout out to John Bowden out there, all about animals radio, a former producer. He's got a great one. I love how he says, "Hey, Mama Bear." It is
Yeah.
awesome. Yes.
Hello.
But we got live and
Hello.
on the air. Go right ahead. Yes.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome aboard. I'm so glad you got connected, you and like Yvonne, and this is great. Yeah, go ahead. You have any comments or questions for Billy? Go right ahead.
I do have a question.
Okay.
I'm going to start once my mother passed away, so I'm working on getting the house and the property ready for fostering. I want to start working with abused animals, especially dogs. What would you recommend?
Oh, I'd recommend giving yourself a big pat on the back. That is great. We need you. That's awesome. I'm so happy.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you, Darla.
yeah,
Yes.
that's great. I am actually launching a course under ICP for fosters to bring in, a program that is very different from and I'll probably say this, but the 3 day, 3 week, 3 month, it's very different from that. And it's specific for dogs with traumatized backgrounds and dogs over the age of 6 months. So, but I think one of the biggest things it's the mindset on thinking that these dogs, it if you think about a person that has worked in an industry for a long time and they're very good at their job and they're switching to a different company. It doesn't mean that they don't know anything. In fact, they probably know a lot. So it's really up to us to learn what they know instead of taking the approach of teaching. So instead of thinking only about teaching these dogs, we need to have a skill, a process for learning about them, which is not just solely watching them and looking. It includes that, but when we start to work with exercises, brain exercises, and cognitive exercises, we can allow for decision making, and then we learn what's important to them, how they feel, what they want to do, why they think a certain way, and then we can adapt how we work with them. But we need to start the whole process with thinking that, which I'm sure you do, they're all different. They're all different. So we can't just assume that they're going to have a huge amount of fear, or we can't just assume that they won't like going on a walk. But one thing more specific that is, as soon as you're starting, I would really just live your normal life. So a lot of times the advice is to sort of, make sure that your house is really quiet. Don't go for walks. Don't do things. Just very, very slow integration. If you feel and make a humane decision that that's best for that dog, definitely. But on the same note, if the dog has been around a lot of people, and I've handed in a lot of dogs from the reserves or from the streets, they've seen a lot. They've seen a lot of people. They've seen a lot of bicycles. They've seen a lot of cars. They've seen just a ton of shit. So they can do things. You can have people over, because if you wait too long to do that, they view your home as not having anybody in there. And then all of a sudden, 3 months later, you invite somebody over. This is like, whoa, what's going on? There hasn't been anybody here. So if you normally have an active lifestyle and you feel it's okay and not stressing the dog out, do that. Have people over so that the dog learns what this environment is like. Just like if you went into a new workplace, you have to learn what that environment is like. And you might not like everything about it, but because it's there, you can learn to adapt to it and decide how you're going to work yourself around it.
Here's
So,
another. What I also have a question. I've done volunteer work at zoos and shelters and stuff like that. What do
okay.
you recommend? What do you recommend? A single foster or a double or bonded pair?
Well,
Bonded pair.
well, the reality of my foster was I did it out of my home, and this is years ago when, I mean, I don't even think what I did then would even be legal now. There were just dogs coming in all over the place. There were dogs tied to my doorstep. I had a 450 square foot home with a shared driveway and a regular size yard, and it was like, here we are, but the other option was that the dogs die. So that's how you learn about dogs. But if you have a controlled environment and you can actually manage that situation a lot better than I did, the dogs did fine. It was just that's probably why I learned everything I learned. But I think dogs have the same dynamics as people, and they learn to, it's tough to answer that question on this show because it really depends. I mean, you don't want to be stressing any of the dogs out, and it depends on your skill level and your comfort level, because they'll be looking to you for guidance and calm manageability. So you have to have those skills to do that. But age is a big thing. I mean, I only took in dogs over the age of 6 months because that's what I gravitated to, and that's what I work with. Totally
I
different
have
if you
no
have
intentions
puppies.
of getting anything with puppies. Nope.
You're only going to be taking puppies? Okay,
No,
yeah,
no.
that's
I said I want to go. My thing is I want to start. My goal eventually is to get the unwanted ones, the older ones, the hospice ones. That's what Jeff was talking about last time.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we love you. Okay, that's great. Um, yeah, they can adapt. They can adapt. It depends on your house setup. It depends on your lifestyle. It depends on the other dogs that are there. You want to make sure that there is a good balance, because sometimes it's just like with people. If there's one that throws off the whole balance, it can be a lot different. You could have 10 that all balance each other out and it works well and they understand each other, they can read each other, and you have this calm manageability. But then you get in number 11 and everything goes. So it's really about understanding the balance and the dynamics.
Okay, I have a lot of
But
work to do.
well, if you start out with a few, yeah, you have more experience in
Only
a
two
shelter.
max. Two max.
Yeah, yeah. Just start out with a few and watch how they work with each other and build your skills, and you can reach out and I can share more and more specific depending on the specific dogs you get in. So the students in my program now, they're doing that and they're using those dogs as mentors. So there's the mentorship program and they're using, the dogs that they're bringing in the program, and they're doing that, bringing in more and bringing in more. But you have more experience with shelter dogs than I do. I mean, I've worked with dogs that have come out of shelters and I prevented them from going into shelters, but I haven't worked with a lot of dogs in a shelter situation. So, maybe you can take some of what you learned from that and move it over.
I hope so.
But yeah, you can reach out and we can have a deeper conversation about it if you want to on a separate time. You can just email me, Billie at instituteofcaninespsychotherapy.com.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, way to go. That's awesome. I'm so happy.
Yeah, darling, thank you for tuning in. And always, feel free, like I told everyone else, listen in and send me an invite to come on air, spread the word. A lot of former guests are showing up. And this is great. And I'm so sorry to hear about your mother. May she rest in peace. She's got a great daughter going there, so everybody just work together. It takes super teamwork to see the super changes. And we'll go, and thank you so much. But Mama, and I got Mama Cat coming on. Darla, you can stay on there, okay? I'm going to be running the show till like um 8:30. So if you don't mind there, Billy, because
Yeah, no, this is great. I
I love
appreciate the
this.
time.
I mean,
Awesome.
this is great. Thank you, Podbean podcast.
Yeah.
And I will be
And thank
yeah, and
you.
editing. I will be editing and then publishing them on all these podserve.fm voices care or I'm sorry, Animal Advocates Radio, and also on Podbean, on the website, okay, and that's voices carry for animals dot podbean dot com. They'll all be listed there, and then you can share them everywhere, okay, or you can listen 24/7. That means a lot. But Mama Cat, I'm bringing you on air. You're live and on the air. Go ahead. Can you hear me?
Did someone just call
Yeah,
in?
Mama Cat. Can you hear me, Mama Cat?
Oh,
Hold on 1 second. Yeah, can you hear me, Mama Cat? Okay, you can hear me? I can't hear you. Let me send me another invite and I'll get you back
There I
in.
am.
There you are. There's the
I think I'm on
meow.
there now.
Yeah, you are. Go ahead. And Harold, if you want to come on there after Mama Cat, you go ahead and then just send me an invite, okay? Aloha 1978. Go ahead. You're live, Mama Cat. Thank you for all your ongoing support. And Mama Cat was a former
I was
guest many times out there with the colony cats, and she's got a heart of gold. They give her a standing ovation over what 100 of them when she brings them
yep.
food and everything, and she just made their life, more comfortable and at peace. Out there in Colorado. Go ahead, Mama Cat.
I was lost, but now I'm
That's
found.
right. Yep.
Hey Billy, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Mama Cat. Good to hear you again. I think it's been a while, but
It
always
has been
fun.
a while.
Yeah,
You're
that's all
still
you've got.
busy.
Yeah, we're all busy, aren't we? It's good.
Busy,
It's good.
busy,
I
busy.
love your connection with the cat. You're always bringing really good points to the table when it comes to cat. I have a cat. I love cats, by the way. If I could have a cat rescue, I would. I think they're great, and I think they have a lot of they're smart. They are smart.
Funny story. My sister's husband sent me a thank you letter, a text message. He told me, "Thanks a lot for spreading your genes all over my wife." I'm like, what is he talking about? Well, I was rescuing birds. So my sister got into rescuing birds, but she keeps
Oh.
them. She's got a whole bunch of them. Then I was rescuing, I was doing transports and stuff for dogs.
Mhm.
Now she's got 5 rescue standard poodles.
Oh yeah.
Then I was rescuing cats. So now she sent me a message the other day that some feral cat had kittens under one of her sheds, and then the mom never came back. So she's got 5 like 3-day old cats, and
Oh.
she don't know what the heck to do with them. Of course, every rescue down there in Florida is full, you know. So I taught her how to make a nursing box basically for all the kittens so that she doesn't have to feed each one, 100 times a day. And you just take a piece of cardboard, cover the front of it with some type of fur, fake fur works. Cut a couple holes in there, get your baby bottles, your kitten bottles, stick them through the cardboard so the nipples face out towards the fur, and put it in the box, and they will find the nipples. Trust me.
Huh.
And she
That's
just loves
amazing. That's
it.
great. That's so sad that their mom isn't there with them, but that
She
is
thinks
a
something
creative
happened.
solution. Yeah.
They're feral and it's Florida. Who knows? There's a lot of creepy crawly things around there to eat them. So, you
Yeah.
know, you
Yeah.
never know what happened. But like I told her, you can only leave them babies out there waiting for mama for so long. Once they get cold and they're hungry, they don't do real well.
Oh, that's good.
So it was 2 days before she took them, and I told her, you got to take them because it was cold. The babies didn't have much fur yet, and so she took them, and they're doing well. And I found a rescue down there in Pensacola that was going to come and pick them up for her. She's a school teacher; she can't take them to school with her.
Oh, well, that was good of her because a lot of people would just leave them.
Yeah,
What am I going to do? What can I do? And it's amazing the number of people that just drive by animals or just turn their heads or, yeah.
that drives me nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
And then you hear people say, "Can't somebody help?" Aren't you somebody?
Yes,
That's right.
I know that.
Yes.
Actually, that is a line I use in my TEDx talk. It's everybody expects somebody else to be that somebody to do something, and you
Yeah,
are that somebody. Just,
you're somebody.
yeah, you're the somebody. It's not going to get any different.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that everybody should go out and pick up a
No,
handful of
no.
kittens and bring them home, but you know,
Everybody
when
could help
someone
some way.
make a phone
Yeah,
call a rescue, call me, whatever. There's
yeah.
100 million of us on Facebook. It's not like it's difficult to find somebody to help.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. Not everybody can rescue. Not everybody can bring animals into their home. But everybody can figure out something that they can do to help somehow.
Right. And like I've had people say, "Oh, well, I'm all the way over here in, Florida or whatever." I'm like, "Dude, I'm in Colorado.
Hmm.
I've helped dogs clear across the country and never laid eyes on them." I mean,
Yeah,
it's what we
yeah,
do. It's
yeah,
not that hard. I didn't have to pay anything. I made some phone calls, you
yeah.
know, and
And when
once
I
people
was,
realize that,
yeah, when I volunteer at spay and neuter clinics, they do a lot of cats as well, right? So then They do a lot of cats and a lot of dogs. And there were people there that were on their honeymoon. They were on their honeymoon and they would come for a day or two and volunteer at a spay and neuter clinic. Why not? It's just something
Yeah,
new. It's such a great experience and you meet different people. It's hard. It's very hard.
it
But
is.
everybody, and then there's people that don't actually come to the spay and neuter clinic, but they help organize it from behind the scenes, or they make the food for the volunteers, right? Like,
Yeah,
there's so many things you can do. You don't have to be hands on.
absolutely. That's what I try telling people all the time. I understand the financial issues people have every day. But if you have a phone to go on Facebook, if you have a computer to go on Twitter or wherever, you have the means to make a difference. You can make those phone calls, send those emails. It doesn't cost anything, and
Hmm.
we have to be a kinder race. I mean, we just do,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, and skills and help people do that, because if people feel, I think that's a big reason why people don't foster dogs or adopt dogs, because they feel like they're going to fail them. And if people feel like they're going to fail them,
Then they do.
then they really want to help, but they just feel like they can't. And that's why it's good to have options and skills and way to build your skills and take courses and learn, or like, that's, people, that's why I encourage people, just reach out and just ask me. Everything I say isn't right, and I haven't, nothing works perfectly 100% of the time. But if we all just keep learning and keep talking to people and keep learning from others' experiences and their skills, then we can put those all together and decide what we're going to do.
Right. And
Hopefully make the right decision.
honestly, I feel that people are a bigger failure by not helping, just not sharing. If you're worried about failing an animal, sitting on your butt and sitting on your hands is what failure is,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
totally.
that's just the reality of it. I mean, and if there were, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know anything about it, nor did I until I had moved into a house with 23 cats in my yard. That's when I learned
That'll do it.
every time.
That's why I call you Mama Cat.
Hard to ignore them.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, not doing anything is failure. Yes, there you go, Darla.
yeah,
Yes, exactly.
it really is.
Be a part of
Yeah,
the be a
and
part of the solutions, not the ongoing problems. They
Right?
blame it on society. We are society, everyone.
We are
We are
them. Yep.
them, and it's up to us to make the changes. Come together, work together, get the word out. Don't just ignore it and let it. We cannot kick these animals to the curb. They're all lives matter, including all the animals. So we have to do something to make it. The elderly, the children, the animals are all voiceless and helpless, innocent. So we have to do something, make this world a better place for them because they so well deserve. So let's see the
I think it's getting better, though. I really
better
do.
lives and futures for all the time. That's what it takes.
Yeah.
Total teamwork all the way.
I think I think things are I think things are getting better.
I agree.
Um, yeah. I mean, we may not have as many as we're all wanting, but slowly, I do really think we're making a difference.
Yep,
And we got to get more bills pushing. Um, we just got to keep going. That's all. We just can't stop. Take a break if you need to, but get right back up and let's keep on
that's
going.
right. Quitters never win, right? And winners never
And winners never
quit.
quit.
Yeah, that's it.
That's
My
right.
gosh, that takes me back.
Yep.
That's
Don't
a
give up.
70s thing.
And ladies, I'm going to go ahead and close up here because I got more work to do in
Yeah.
editing and publishing and all that good stuff. So But I want to thank you so much, Billy, for coming back on air again, and keep all the information, the following on the podcast and on the app and the web. And the next time I invite you, all you got to do is click that email invitation, click right into the chat room, okay? And it was
Yeah.
another great show.
Thank you
And
so much. And I want to thank everybody who came, and aloha. Sorry that you didn't get to speak if you wanted to, but you can reach out, or
No
thank
problem.
you for your point as well on the CBD. And yeah, you were great and all your comments. Thanks so much.
yes,
Thanks
You're
to
welcome.
yeah,
yeah.
and all comments will be on the recorded and on their website under this show tonight. So check them out. If you want to go back and share the show, or get the word out there, because not everyone's on social media same time and days, and there's a lot that miss it. So that's why we should always keep sharing it. I will do that. I know on X I see notifications coming in all weekend long sharing this show. And luckily they're archived, so it's not like they're wasting their time and energy. So, and I love that because I tag a lot of people on X, and that helps out a lot because if they're not on at that time, they can always come back and share it right then and there because now it's going to be archived. So, isn't that wonderful? So, and thank you, Darla, for coming on. Yvonne had to leave, but thank her also coming on, and also Mama Cat and all your great great support that you do, and also Judy's dog report was in this evening, and want to thank her for coming in. I mean, this chat room is so awesome. Pod Bean rocks, everyone. So yeah,
Thank you, Debbie. That was
it was,
awesome.
and
Yay.
I love it. And keep coming back. Feel free. This is what's neat. You'll get a notification every Thursday that there's a show going to be starting up. And click here to join. Bam, you're right in. That's what I call modern
Yeah, now that I know
technology.
how to do
Yeah.
it.
Hey, we're all newbies.
Now that I figured it out.
And
Oh, that was great.
yeah, and you can even share.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you can even share the show from this chat
Yeah.
room up in there in the right hand corner. I don't know if it's the same as mine, but there's that arrow, and you can share it on X and Facebook. And I haven't tried that yet. I want to try it
Oh,
sometime. I don't want to try anything right now because I don't want to have to hit the wrong button because it's right next to the one that shuts it down. So I got to be careful. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in this evening. Next week, Marianne Holm for Lucy the Elephant will be on again. And please join in. Let's rock the airways for Lucy because she needs to be transferred to a sanctuary.
He does.
I mean, it's been too long, and Marianne has worked so hard at this, and all her supporters and everything. So, but please join us next week, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, and 4 o'clock Pacific. Listen worldwide, everyone. All shows are recorded live, and just go back to Podbean. Voices carry for animals.podbean.com, and just check out all the shows on there and share and click on which one you want to listen to. You can share right from the bottom. I mean, it is awesome. That's the host website. Okay, they even give you a host website, so I think that's awesome. Or also on podserve.fm, you could go there under Animal Advocates Radio, and they have all the shows listed there also. And check out,
We're on YouTube
yes,
too.
YouTube. Check out YouTube, okay? Voices Carry for Animals podcast. I just started that at the end of the last year. And then when John Bowden gave me his channel, and I switched to Animal Advocates Radio. So it's going to take the time to build it up, but that is expected. But I want to thank all
Yep.
of you for tuning in. Another great show. I love it. And we're going to keep going, and join us next week. Let's all stand up and support Lucy the elephant up in Canada Zoo, okay? Needs to be released. It's enough is enough. But anyway, thank you so much, and hope you
thanks
all
so
have
much.
a wonderful evening. And Billy, looking forward to having you on again and again, okay? Another great show. I
Awesome.
love it.
You're great. Thanks so much.
Yes.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you, everyone.
Bye.
May God bless you all. Bye-bye. Night, everyone.
Paw in hand,
Go ahead.
paw in hand, united we stand against all animal cruelty and neglect across the land. Good night,
Good
everybody.
night. Thank you, Mama Cat.
Love ya.
Hey, love you all, man. You guys are great. Okay?